If it hurts, good. Keep going. That pain you're feeling right now, that's not your enemy. That's your teacher. That's your guide. That's the signal that you're actually doing something meaningful. Because here's the truth that nobody wants to hear. Anything worth having in life requires you to go through some level of suffering to get it. There's no way around it. There's no shortcut. There's no hack that's going to let you skip the hard parts. The only way out is through. Think about the last time you really pushed yourself. I'm not talking about going through the motions. I'm talking about the moment where you thought you couldn't take another step, lift another rep, work another hour, and then somehow you found a way to keep going anyway. Remember how that felt? Not just the accomplishment afterward, but the actual moment of pushing through. There was something raw about it, something real. That's because in that moment, you were confronting the most fundamental question of human existence. Are you going to let your circumstances control you, or are you going to control your circumstances? Every single day, life is testing you. It's putting obstacles in your path to see what you're made of. And most people fail these tests. They fail them repeatedly. They fail them so many times that eventually they stop even trying. They convince themselves that they're not capable. They tell themselves stories about why they can't do things. They build elaborate justifications for their own limitations. And then they wonder why their life never changes. But you're different. You have to be different. There's still that part of you that refuses to settle. That part of you that knows you're capable of more. That part of you that's tired of making excuses and ready to make moves. The question is, are you going to listen to that voice, or are you going to let it get drowned out by all the noise? Pain is information. When your body hurts during a workout, it's telling you that you're breaking down muscle fibers so they can rebuild stronger. When your mind hurts from studying or learning something difficult, it's telling you that you're literally rewiring your neural pathways and expanding your capacity. When your emotions hurt from facing uncomfortable truths about yourself, it's telling you that you're growing beyond the person you used to be. The pain isn't the problem. Your relationship with pain is the problem. We live in a world that's obsessed with comfort. Everyone's trying to make everything easier, smoother, more convenient. And there's nothing wrong with efficiency. But somewhere along the way, we started believing that comfort was the goal. We started thinking that the point of life was to eliminate all struggle, all difficulty, all pain. And that's a trap. Because when you make comfort your primary objective, you stop growing, you stop evolving. You become soft, and the world doesn't reward soft people. It rewards people who can take hits and keep moving forward. You want to know why most people never achieve their goals? It's not because they don't set them. Most people have goals. They have dreams. They have visions of who they want to become and what they want to accomplish. But when it comes time to do the actual work, when it comes time to face the actual pain that transformation requires, they fold, they quit, they give up, and then they spend the rest of their lives wondering what could have been. There's a moment that happens to everyone who's trying to change their life. It's the moment where continuing forward becomes harder than staying where you are. Your old habits are screaming at you. Your old patterns are pulling at you. Your old identity is fighting to survive. And in that moment, you have a choice. You can give in to that pull and go back to who you were, or you can push through the resistance and become who you're supposed to be. That moment is everything. That moment determines your entire trajectory. The people who make it through that moment understand something crucial. Temporary pain is the price of permanent change. You can't transform without experiencing discomfort. You can't evolve without facing resistance. You can't become a new version of yourself while clinging to the comfort of who you used to be. Something has to die for something new to be born. Your old self has to die for your new self to emerge, and that process hurts. It's supposed to hurt. But here's what most people don't realize. You can actually learn to reframe that pain. You can train yourself to interpret discomfort as a positive signal instead of a negative one. When you're tired, instead of thinking I need to stop, you can think I'm getting stronger. When you're uncomfortable, instead of thinking this is too hard, you can think this is exactly what I need. When you're facing resistance, instead of thinking maybe this isn't for me, you can think this is the barrier that's keeping everyone else out. Every worthwhile destination has a difficult path leading to it. That's by design. That's not a bug. That's a feature. Because if it was easy, everyone would do it. And if everyone did it, it wouldn't be valuable. The difficulty is what creates the value. The struggle is what makes the achievement meaningful. The pain is what transforms the journey from a simple task into a defining moment of your character. Think about the things you're most proud of in your life. I guarantee they didn't come easy. I guarantee there were moments where you wanted to quit, moments where you doubted yourself, moments where you felt like you couldn't possibly continue, but you did continue. And now those experiences are part of your identity. They're part of what makes you who you are. That's the power of pushing through pain. It doesn't just give you the external result you're chasing. It fundamentally changes who you are on the inside. Your body is designed to adapt. Your mind is designed to adapt. Your entire being is designed to respond to the challenges you place in front of it. But adaptation only happens when you push beyond your current capacity. If you keep doing what's comfortable, if you keep staying in your current range, you'll never trigger the adaptation response. You'll never force your system to upgrade itself. You have to create stress. You have to create tension. You have to create discomfort. That's how growth works. And this applies to every area of your life. It applies physically when you're training your body. It applies mentally when you're expanding your knowledge. It applies emotionally when you're working through your psychological barriers. It applies socially when you're putting yourself in situations that challenge you. It applies professionally when you're taking on responsibilities that stretch you. Pain is the universal signal that you're operating at your edge. And your edge is exactly where you need to be if you want to expand. Most people spend their entire lives avoiding their edge. They know roughly where their limits are, and they make sure to stay safely within them. They never test themselves. They never push themselves. They never discover what they're actually capable of. And then they die having lived a fraction of the life they could have lived. They die with their potential still locked inside them. They die without ever knowing what they truly were. Don't let that be you. Don't live a life of comfort and regret. Don't choose temporary ease over permanent growth. Don't avoid pain today only to feel the much deeper pain tomorrow of knowing you never became who you could have been. That regret, that knowledge that you wasted your potential, that you played it safe, that you chose comfort over growth, that's a pain that never goes away. That's the pain that eats at you for the rest of your life. The pain of discipline is temporary. The pain of regret is permanent. You get to choose which one you want to experience. And make no mistake, you're choosing right now. Every day that you avoid discomfort, every day that you choose the easy path, every day that you quit when things get hard, you're choosing regret. You're choosing to be someone who had potential but never did anything with it. You're choosing to be someone who had dreams but never pursued them. You're choosing to be someone who wanted more but wasn't willing to pay the price. But it doesn't have to be that way. You can make a different choice. You can choose to embrace the pain. You can choose to see it as a necessary part of the process. You can choose to keep going when everything in you wants to stop. And when you make that choice consistently, when you develop that capacity to push through discomfort, something incredible happens. You become unstoppable. Because here's the thing about pain, it's finite. No matter how much something hurts, it eventually ends. The workout ends. The work session ends. The uncomfortable conversation ends. The difficult period of your life ends. Pain is temporary. but the person you become by pushing through pain, that's permanent. The strength you build, the character you develop, the confidence you gain, those things stay with you. Those things compound over time. Those things become the foundation of everything else you accomplish. You know what's interesting about people who have achieved extraordinary things? They don't have some special ability to avoid pain. They just have a different relationship with it. They've learned to interpret pain differently. When they feel resistance, they know they're on the right path. When they feel uncomfortable, they know they're growing. When they feel like quitting, they know they're at the exact moment that will define them. They've trained themselves to respond to pain by leaning into it rather than running from it. And that's a skill you can develop. That's not something you're born with or without. That's something you practice. Every time you feel discomfort and push through it anyway, you're building that skill. Every time you want to quit and you keep going, you're strengthening that capacity. Every time you face your fear and do the thing anyway, you're rewiring your relationship with struggle. It's like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets. But most people never develop this skill because they never give themselves the opportunity. They're so committed to avoiding discomfort that they never build any tolerance for it. They've spent their whole lives taking the path of least resistance, and then they wonder why they have no resilience. They've never trained themselves to push through hard things, and then they're shocked when they can't handle adversity. You can't develop strength without resistance. You can't develop endurance without pushing your limits. You can't develop mental toughness without facing mental challenges. The universe doesn't reward potential. It rewards action. It doesn't matter how talented you are if you're not willing to do the work. It doesn't matter how much potential you have if you quit when things get difficult. The only thing that matters is what you actually do when you're facing resistance. Do you retreat or do you advance? Do you quit or do you persist? Do you make excuses or do you make progress? Every single day, you're either moving forward or you're moving backward. There's no standing still. You're either getting stronger or you're getting weaker. You're either building momentum or you're losing it. You're either becoming more of who you want to be or you're slipping back into who you used to be. And the difference between those two directions often comes down to your willingness to embrace discomfort. When you're tired and you push through anyway, you're moving forward. When you're scared and you take action anyway, you're moving forward. When you're uncomfortable and you lean into it anyway, you're moving forward. But when you're tired and you give yourself an easy out, you're moving backward. When you're scared and you let that fear stop you, you're moving backward. When you're uncomfortable and you retreat to safety, you're moving backward. The path forward is always harder than the path backward. That's just reality. Growing is harder than staying the same. Changing is harder than remaining comfortable. Becoming someone new is harder than being who you've always been. But the path backward leads to a place you don't want to go. It leads to mediocrity. It leads to regret. It leads to a life half-lived. And the path forward, as difficult as it is, leads to the only place worth going, the full expression of your potential. You have to decide what you want more, comfort now or growth forever, because you can't have both. You can't stay comfortable and expect to transform. You can't avoid struggle and expect to build strength. You can't eliminate all pain from your life and expect to accomplish anything meaningful. The choice is yours, but you have to make it consciously. You have to decide deliberately, and then you have to commit to that decision even when it gets hard, especially when it gets hard, because it will get hard. There will be days when you don't feel motivated. There will be days when the pain feels like too much. There will be days when you question whether it's worth it. And on those days, you can't rely on motivation. You can't rely on inspiration. You can't rely on feeling good. You have to rely on your commitment. You have to rely on your discipline. You have to rely on the decision you made when you were clear-headed about who you want to become. That's what separates people who achieve their goals from people who just talk about them. The people who achieve their goals have made a non-negotiable commitment to their future self. They've decided that no matter what happens, no matter how hard it gets, no matter how much it hurts, they're going to keep moving forward. They've removed the option of quitting from their mind. They've burned the ships. They've cut off their retreat. They've made going forward the only option. And when you do that, when you truly commit at that level, something shifts. You stop wasting mental energy debating whether you should continue. You stop having those internal negotiations about whether it's worth it. You stop questioning your path every time things get difficult. You just do what needs to be done. You keep putting one foot in front of the other. You keep showing up. You keep pushing through. And that consistency, that relentless forward motion, that's what creates extraordinary results. The problem is that most people keep one foot in and one foot out. They kind of want to change, but they also kind of want to stay comfortable. They sort of want to grow, but they also sort of want to avoid pain. They're trying to have it both ways. And when you try to have it both ways, you end up with nothing. You end up stuck in the middle, not really growing, but not really comfortable either. You end up in this limbo where you're dissatisfied with where you are, but not willing to do what it takes to get somewhere else. You have to go all in. You have to fully commit. You have to make peace with the fact that transformation is going to be uncomfortable. It's going to hurt. It's going to challenge you in ways you can't even imagine right now. But that's the whole point. If it didn't challenge you, it wouldn't change you. If it didn't push you, it wouldn't grow you. If it didn't hurt, it wouldn't be worth doing. Think about what you're capable of when you actually apply yourself. Think about what you've already accomplished when you stopped making excuses and started taking action. Think about who you become when you push past your perceived limits. You know that person. You've met that person. That person shows up when you're faced with a real challenge and you decide to face it head on. That person is who you actually are underneath all the excuses and fears and doubts. But that person only emerges when you create the conditions for them to emerge. And the condition is always the same. You have to be willing to experience discomfort. You have to be willing to face pain. You have to be willing to push yourself beyond what feels safe or easy or comfortable. That's the price of admission. That's what it costs to access your real capabilities. And here's what nobody tells you. Once you do it once you push through real pain and come out the other side, it changes everything. Because you realize that you're capable of so much more than you thought. You realize that most of your limits were self-imposed. You realize that the thing holding you back wasn't your circumstances or your genetics or your past. It was your willingness to experience discomfort. And once you develop that willingness, once you build that tolerance, the game completely changes. Now you can take on challenges that used to seem impossible. Now you can pursue goals that used to seem out of reach. Now you can become the person you used to only dream about being. Because you've removed the main obstacle. You've removed your own resistance to struggle. You've trained yourself to keep going when things get hard. And that ability, that capacity to persist through pain, that's the foundation of every great achievement. You want to know the secret to success? It's not complicated. It's not some hidden knowledge that only a few people have access to. It's simple. It's just that most people aren't willing to do it. The secret is this: feel the pain and keep going anyway. That's it, that's the whole game. Everything else is just details. Feel the fear and take action anyway. Feel the doubt and persist anyway. Feel the discomfort and push forward anyway. Most people wait until they feel ready. They wait until they feel confident. They wait until they feel motivated. They wait until the conditions are perfect. And while they're waiting, life is passing them by. While they're waiting for the perfect moment, other people who are less talented but more willing to experience discomfort are leaving them behind. While they're waiting to feel ready, their potential is slowly dying. You don't get ready by waiting. You get ready by doing. You build confidence through action, not through preparation. You create momentum by moving, not by planning. You develop strength by facing challenges, not by avoiding them. The readiness you're waiting for only comes after you start, not before. You have to be willing to begin before you feel ready. You have to be willing to take action while you're still scared. You have to be willing to keep going even when you don't know if you can. And yes, there will be times when you fail. There will be times when you fall short. There will be times when your best effort isn't enough. But even in those moments, especially in those moments, you're building something valuable. You're building resilience. You're building character. You're building the capacity to get back up after you've been knocked down. And in the long run, that capacity is worth more than any single achievement. Because life is going to knock you down. That's guaranteed. You're going to face setbacks. You're going to experience failures. You're going to go through periods where nothing seems to be working. And in those moments, what matters isn't what happened to you. What matters is what you do next. Do you stay down? Or do you get back up? Do you quit? Or do you keep fighting? Do you let the pain stop you? Or do you use it as fuel? The people who make it, the people who actually achieve their goals and become who they want to be, they're not people who never fell down. They're people who got back up every single time. They're people who faced more pain than most people can imagine and decided to keep going anyway. They're people who looked at their circumstances and said, "This isn't going to stop me. This is just part of the process. This is just the price I have to pay." And when you adopt that mindset, when you truly internalize that perspective, you become dangerous. Not dangerous to other people, but dangerous to your own limitations, dangerous to the status quo, dangerous to mediocrity, because now you're someone who can't be stopped by circumstances. You're someone who can't be deterred by obstacles. You're someone who views pain as a necessary part of growth rather than a reason to quit. That's the mindset shift that changes everything. That's the perspective that separates people who achieve extraordinary things from people who live ordinary lives. It's not that they have access to resources you don't have. It's not that they're smarter or more talented or luckier. It's that they've developed a different relationship with struggle. They've trained themselves to respond to pain by leaning into it rather than running from it. And you can develop that same relationship starting right now, starting today. You don't need permission. You don't need perfect conditions. You don't need to wait for some future version of yourself who's more ready or more capable. You just need to start. You just need to take the first step. You just need to do the thing that scares you, the thing that hurts, the thing that makes you uncomfortable. Because every time you do that, you're proving to yourself that you can. You're building evidence that you're capable of more than you thought. You're creating a track record of pushing through discomfort. And that track record becomes your foundation. That becomes what you stand on when things get really hard. That becomes the proof you need when doubt creeps in and tells you that you can't do it. You know what the most powerful thing you can do for yourself is? Stop waiting for external validation and start validating yourself through action. Stop looking for someone to give you permission and start giving yourself permission. Stop waiting for circumstances to change and start changing yourself. Because when you change, when you truly transform who you are at the core, your circumstances have no choice but to follow. The external world is just a reflection of your internal world. If you want your life to change, you have to change first. If you want different results, you have to become a different person. If you want to achieve things you've never achieved, you have to do things you've never done. And doing things you've never done means experiencing discomfort you've never experienced. There's no way around it. But here's the beautiful thing. You get to choose your pain. You can choose the pain of discipline, or you can choose the pain of regret. You can choose the pain of growth, or you can choose the pain of staying stuck. You can choose the temporary discomfort of pushing yourself, or you can choose the permanent discomfort of knowing you never tried. Either way, you're going to experience pain. The question is, which pain leads somewhere worth going? The pain of discipline leads to freedom. It leads to strength. It leads to capability. It leads to confidence. It leads to the life you actually want to live. The pain of regret leads nowhere. It just sits there, getting heavier with each passing year, reminding you of all the things you could have done but didn't, reminding you of all the potential you had but never used, reminding you of the person you could have been but never became. So if it hurts, good. That means you're doing something right. That means you're pushing beyond your comfort zone. That means you're growing. That means you're becoming someone new. Don't run from that pain. Don't avoid it. Don't numb it. Feel it fully and keep going anyway. Let it shape you. Let it strengthen you. Let it transform you into the person you're meant to be. Because on the other side of that pain is everything you want. On the other side of that discomfort is the life you dream about. On the other side of that struggle is the version of you that you've been trying to become. But the only way to get there is through. The only way to reach that destination is to walk the difficult path. The only way to become that person is to pay the price that transformation demands. And that price is always the same. It's always your willingness to experience discomfort. It's always your capacity to keep going when everything in you wants to stop. It's always your commitment to your future self over your current comfort. That's what it costs. That's what it takes. That's the deal. So make the deal. Pay the price. Do the work. Feel the pain and keep going anyway. Because that's how you win. That's how you become who you're supposed to be. That's how you build a life worth living. Not by avoiding struggle, but by embracing it. Not by running from pain, but by running toward it. Not by choosing comfort, but by choosing growth. If it hurts, good. Keep going. That pain is not stopping you. It's making you. It's forging you. It's creating the version of you that's capable of achieving everything you want. Trust the process. Trust the pain. Trust yourself. And whatever you do, don't stop now. You're exactly where you need to be. You're experiencing exactly what you need to experience. You're becoming exactly who you need to become. So keep going. Keep pushing. Keep fighting. Your future self is counting on you to not give up. Don't let them down.